Hello, fellow Mythrunians. Welcome to another weekly live stream where I write bugs in front of you and you guys yell at the screen or whatever. Or you chat and ask me questions, which is also cool. Tonight we're going to be working on AI perception. Like the dog we worked on last week, I want him to see things around him. I want NPCs to be able to see things and the chicken, the Gayfin and stuff. Before we get started, let me thank the patrons. You guys do really make a big difference. I know it doesn't feel like much, but without oversharing, like today I ended up dropping several $1,000s on a medical test for a family member. Because deductibles and insurance and all that dumb stuff. And so some months it really does seem like I might have to shut the site down and stuff like that. But knowing that I've got this backing, it helps me keep my sites running and stuff. So it definitely does make a difference. So thank you guys so much. And so, without further ado, let's talk about where we are and what we're going to do. As you remember last week, I was working on the creature. I was working on the dogs. And what I started doing is sort of building a perception frustum, which is like a truncated pyramid. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but if you've played video games at all, you've probably heard of this before. Let's see. Frustum. Right. It's one of these things, right? Only usually it's like this is the screen and it's what it's looking at. And so mine is actually a pyramid, but I still call it a frustum because mathematically speaking that's what it is. But in order for creatures to see, mobs to see things in the world, that's kind of their point of view. It's see if the whiteboard's going to work. When you have a person looking in a particular direction, there's a bunch of different ways to handle it. Oops, it doesn't like that. Come on. There we go. So when you have, where's my pen? Okay. So you have your little dudes standing here. And there's a bunch of different ways to handle what he sees. There's direct line of sight. But mathematically speaking, YouTube's telling me there's nobody on. So if you're on, say hi. Mathematically speaking, it's pretty easy to do this sort of truncated pyramid with just a few dot products. So that's what we're going to do. And today, hey Romcram. And today, so it's like this kind of thing, right? If I'm drawing in 3D. Because as it turns out, so if you have your look vector and so if you think of the XYZ axis, if that's X and this is Y and this is Z, you're looking down Z, that's the direction you're looking. Once you've put something in the position that's relative to here, it's just a dot product here and a dot product here and a dot product here to know where it is in this field of view. And so then it's just pretty straightforward math to decide if something is inside or outside this. So it's a good shape, and I added some support to the physics engine. I don't know if it's 100% accurate because I don't have any debug views of it. So that's what I'm going to start with. I started that last Saturday or Sunday. The other thing I want to do is have a way to shoot tiny pumpkins. Which, while we're in here, I'm going to go ahead and create a pumpkin and export it so that I think there's another way for me to have done that, but this will be the easiest way. And I'll show you the little quote-unquote, it's because they're going to be small, I call them gourds, not pumpkins, but I'll show you the gourd wand, quote-unquote wand, I created in the assembly editor. Turns out I found some bugs and I had to back it up a little bit, but let me show you what I'm talking about. So, because I thought it was kind of a funny joke. Here we go. Let's go into the workbench. And So we'll look at the gourd gun, yeah. So edit the design. So I made kind of this gun looking thing, which I think is kind of funny. Using, you know, object assembly. It's got the gourd wand and the gun barrel. The problem is that I added this to my player's inventory, and it won't appear in the inventory because the inventory view doesn't have support for object assemblies yet. That was sort of an oversight on my part. So I ended up just using, you know, the gun receiver here, which doesn't have the barrel on it. And so that looks like, let's see, blueprints. So that looks like this. So it's kind of gun looking like, but it doesn't have the big barrel on it. But that at least would show up in the inventory. I did do that, didn't I? I keep forgetting that there's that bug. So inventory. So it does show up in the inventory. It's not right yet, and like it's sized as if it had the barrel, and it needs to be rotated and stuff. But I've got it equipped, and I got it all lined up for my character, so it kind of lines up with their hands. So I think it's kind of funny. There is a roadmap. This is all about getting the NP. So the current short-term goals are to get, you know, NPCs fleshed out a little bit more. So I had, you know, I implemented my dog. There's going to be some, you know, random encounters for the butterflies and things like that. So I'm trying to flesh out the, you know, AI and animation and stuff. And the only reason I did this is because I had like a half hour before the live stream where I was trying to do something, and I need something to be able to shoot objects, because what I want to have happen is, like if I have a, let me use my test one. So if I have a dog running around and he's seeing things, I want to know if he's seeing people or objects. And one of the easiest ways to do that is if I can like shoot objects into his frame of view. And so I wanted some kind of tool that I could hold that would shoot little balls or something. And since I already have a pumpkin, I just wanted to have like a quick wand to shoot, because where it really comes up is what I want to have happen is these Gafen, if they see something, whether it's another mob or a object, if they see something like that fly rapidly into their field of view, they want to run in the other direction. And so I need some way to test that, because what I want to see happen for this release is emergent behavior. I want to see this kind of combinatorial emergent behavior where the Gafen will run away if it sees something, you know, move too quickly in its field of view. It will run in the opposite direction. And I want to make the dog sort of, if he sees someone or something, some mob he hasn't seen in a while, he'll go running up to it. And between those two behaviors, what you end up having is cases where the dog will see the Gafen and he'll go running up to it. And then the Gafen will see the dog come in really fast and will run in the opposite direction, and they'll chase each other around. And I think it's neat to have like two really simple AI behaviors that interact that way. And so I want to get that working. And then that's sort of the foundation for a lot of stuff. It turns out I've had to fix a lot of things and implement a lot of things to even get all that working. So, so that's what we're working on. There is a sort of a roadmap, but I tried to pick threads that I know will force me to implement a lot of stuff. Last time it was NPCs being able to give you quests. So if you, you know, they can give you quests now, and you can check out, you know, this basic quest that required me to implement a whole bunch of stuff to make quests work. And so if I pick a thread like that, I end up having to implement a bunch of stuff. It's really cool. And so the current threads are, and actually the AI is a bit of a sidetrack, but because once we put NPCs that are walking around the town in, it seemed like, you know what, this world would be pretty cool if it could be more alive. And so I wanted to have the random encounters for the butterflies. And, you know, so as you wander around, if you come across flowers, there might be a butterfly near it. Yeah, there'd be butterflies way too much. They fall right down as soon as they stop flapping their wings. But then you know, some players suggested, you know, more. And also my dog was sick, so I wanted to, my dog is not long for this world, unfortunately, but so I wanted to have her in the game. So that's my doggy. It's my doggy, Kaylee, and it'll be a pet eventually. So yeah, we pet it and it'll go chasing after us. Anyway, hi, Kaylee. Okay, so let's get to work. And what I want to see happen is, in these views, I want to see the perception bubbles, you know, so the perception frustums of the different objects. Right now, you can see there's a red arrow sticking out of my head when I look around. That's showing that player's, the frustum up vector. So what I want to do is make the mesh that would make the wireframe on what that looks like. I thought real quickly though, maybe we'll make the gun shoot pumpkins, because that's, I think, more fun to watch me do. And I think I can do it in a way that I can live reload. So what we want to do, here's the gourd gun object. We want to add the click behavior. Yeah, I've got all this debugging in here. I need to take that out. If we're going to be playing and wanting to see output, I need to remove all that. I was debugging why things were and weren't in the view, and it turned out because the view was not where I expected it to be, and that's where I started down the path of adding it to the debug layers. Now, perception will be based on a view frustum. So anything, well, there's two parts, right? There's if an object is inside, you know, this view frustum, I know that the player could or the mob could potentially see it, and then there'll be, you know, some ray casting done to see if it's blocked by something else. Because all I know is that yes, it's in this frustum, but you know, maybe there's a door or whatever in the way, and we can't actually see it. In which case, a ray cast would hit that and say. So just basically, ray cast in the general direction, occasionally in, you know, random directions. So maybe we see it through the crack in the door or something. Certain amount of randomness makes it more interesting. So if it's like a, yeah, it's like a bush or something, maybe you'll see it through the bush sometimes. So I got those out, which means that's in the open source libraries. So I need to wow, we've got 7 people on according to the YouTube stats down there. That's nice. If you are new to the channel, welcome. If you like what you see, subscribe, and you'll get to see notifications about future live streams. I try to do. I've so far done them every Friday. I think I've missed 1 or 2 in the last however many months. Okay. So what we want to do is come in here, and we want to define the behavior of. We want any click, not just click block. But I will do both. What does the test one do? Let's do main click block, and yeah, let's start there. That will get us close enough. Alright, and what I want to do here is set up a live reloading script. So what we will do is, where did I used to have that and I commented it out. Forgive me a second, guys. What was it that we were testing? Right, yeah, NPC talks, that's what it is. Okay, so something like that, yeah, call is what I need to do. And session, okay. record one. So we want to say core gun test. Click. Call session block hit. I think session is enough. Actually, I don't think I need those other things. And then what we will do over here in my, I'm just going to stick it in here for lack of a better place. Because I have this test mod. I think it's already loading. Yeah. So let's just stick it in here for now. And let's see, log info, oh, session block hit, and we will just make sure this is working. Cord gun session block hit. Okay, so if I've set this up right, once I run the game, we can keep editing it without having to load it again. And so we will see. And I forgot to make my pumpkin object for shooting anyway. And so that means I'm going to have to do this again. Although, you know what? I can do that quicker this way. Let's run the block editor. Don't have to launch the whole game that way. Okay. Okie dokie dokie dokie. So this is a lot faster. So let's find the pumpkin. Although, okay, say, actually I want to do it in the middle, just for fun. Okay, save as pumpkin. Alrighty, that's easy. Copy, source main, shaper, block. File, oops, ooh. Blocks files, that's what it is. Pumpkin to source main, resources, models. Let's call it items, pumpkin.blocks. And then we will I think for now that is okay. Alright, so we should be able to work with that. Because I think we're going to manually create the objects. Alright. Reminder that up in the upper left corner here, if you haven't tried the game before, there's the download link for the, super secret download link for the test build. I believe it's in the upper left corner, right? Yep, with the password. That's the release from January. I'm hoping to get another one out mid-March, but life the way it's been going, it might be the end of March. And that should have these basic AI things we're working on, and then the tool swinging and hitting things. I'll at least get the hits detection. I really want to get resources working. I think that's going to be the next release now. But I want to have the build one start actually collecting the stuff you go after. Hey, doggy. All right, so what are we doing? We are going to select this. Equip. Apparently I've still got a bunch of debug statements going by. Yes, all the perception set stuff. So while I'm thinking about it, let me go ahead and fix that. I'm going to still make sure that perception. Got too many files open. I say that every time. Perception set somewhere. Why can't I? Should be, there it is. Alright. Oops. Okay, let's comment out that logging. When I restart, at least we'll see it. So I got this done. Let's turn on the, make the sunrise. Okay. I don't think we're going to be able to... Let's see if we saw it. It should have had a bunch of asterisks in. Yeah, see, this is too much logging. Because I was logging everything that appeared in the... Okay, so let's get rid of that, and we're going to add another log statement to test objects to make sure we're being called. I'm like blind tonight. And just to make it really obvious. Okay. All right, let's see if we can see better. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to clean this up. This has been an awful week for trying to work on Mythruna. There's a local to us, there's a bus strike, the public transportation, and a lot of times my kids rely on public transportation to get around because neither of them drive, and so I've been having to drive them lots of places because the buses haven't been running, and that takes at least 2 hours, sometimes more, out of my day. And that's when I have to take off work to go do that, then I end up having to work at night, and I don't get to work on Mythruna at night, and then I'm very sad the next day. So. Do. Yeah, there was one company I used to work for, and one of the guys there, talk about how my job's been a little hectic lately. Anyway, at this old job, one of my coworkers used to joke every time there was a new person hired above us, he used to joke that we all just got a demotion. And so back in earlier this year, one of our bosses in our chain of command left for another company. And so I joked that we all just got a promotion. We all just got moved up. Well, it turns out that has turned out to be true, because now I'm okay. So we are getting called. See, because I got sucked up into a higher position, and it's more responsibility, and I'm being pulled in 90 different directions as everyone's running around trying to figure out how we're going to get everything done that we have to get done, and so on. So hopefully that'll relax a little bit as we. Get a handle on everything. So I think what I'm going to do, what is session? Session is, there's some other thing. Oh, it's not, there's nothing to congratulate. It's literally just, hey, you're smart. Can you help us guide this a little bit? They're like, yeah, I guess so. It's not an official promotion of any sort. Just, hey, we want you to help run scrums and things now. Which is all things I've done in the past. Let's see. I want to see session activator. Yeah, no, there's no more money involved or anything. I really can't, at my current level in my career, I really can't get promoted any higher and still get to write code. At one point I was promoted out of getting to write code, and I arranged to have myself demoted again, because years ago that was a soul-sucking thing to be in management, and so I got myself pushed back down, and I was at least team lead for a long time, but active team lead. So session activator. And then that project went away, and I got put on a new project. And then that one, I was just one of the little worker bees because I didn't know anything other than how to code, obviously. But I have like long-standing, we call it leadership skills or whatever you want to call it. I have experience doing that, so it was natural to get sucked back in. Okay, so what I'm looking for right now is session activator is the player, and I'm trying to remember what the thing. So I position and lookter is what I want. And for now, what we will do is we will, so session activator I position is where I want to, we can make sure. I position. And so I dir should be lookter. So this is where if I want to fire the gun, that's the direction it'll go. And so there we go. We got recompiled the script, and so I should be able to go boink. And I position is null. That's not good. Well, at least we have the I dir. Okay, so I position must never be filled in. And I know why that is too. And it's the same problem I'm going to have with putting the perception, frustum in the right place. That the I position I must I must not have spelled it right. So IPOS is what I want. Is that what I called it? I realize my I'm jumping around. I spelled it out. It's a problem. Okay. Okay, let's see the click again. Doink. Okay, I position, I dir. We're good. And the I position is not exactly accurate because you saw from that code it's just adding 1.5 meters to the feet. That's not right, but it's the best we got right now. So what I want to do with this information is I want to create an object. I want to create an entity that is the little teeny pumpkin, and I want it to fly in the direction that I'm looking. And then we'll also wire this up to when the player is not looking at a block. And then this, anyway, I was hoping to get this done faster, but I say that every time, don't I? So what we want to do is not that. We want to say entity equals create entity. Can I do this? I think so. New spawn position. I think, yeah, that's right. Spawn position at the eye. Plus, okay, well, let's just make our lives easier. And we don't have to type those every time. Okay, so loc new quad D. Okay, so that gives us our position. Oops. Now we want to we need to give it some mass. We also want to say we give it a created by, so if I look at it I'll know who created it. And we need a shape info. I gotta remember how to create one of those. Okay, here it is. And we don't want it to be full, but let's do that at first, and we'll see how ginormous it is. And we definitely want to give it a decay. And I think we'll make it decay. And yeah, we'll leave it 120 for now. Yeah, well, it's not really though. I mean, if I get this debug tool written in 20 minutes, that's not really a lot of work for a debug tool. And I think players will have fun shooting pumpkins at things anyway. Because this will be in every player's inventory for a while. This is not what we want. We want models, items, pumpkin dot blocks. I think that will work, and we shall see because I'm going to test it. Boink. Whee! Yep, there. Big old giant pumpkin. Obviously, it needs to be smaller scale, but it's working. Ooh, there it goes. Huh? Oh yeah, because it thinks it's a block. Anyway. All right, we're getting a lot of log spam here? Oh, it's the kinematic stuff I've set up for the... Yeah, right. Whatever. It won't hurt us none to keep going. I think point... What is it? I don't math very good right now, so it's half of that, I think. So 0.06 something. So let's try again. Uh-oh. There it is. Teeny, teeny, tiny. Okay. That may be a little too tiny. But look, it knows what it is. Okay. Now we need to make it also shoot through the air. So we'll make it a little bigger. Like twice that size. And then there's a component that I can use to make things fly. And I think it's defined in the physics engine. There's an impulse or something. Yep, there it is. Impulse. Linear velocity. So let's see what a impulse of 1 unit does. Where'd my test things go? There it is. So let's see if it will let me do this. New impulse dir. Okay. Oops. Alright. Does it know what that is? I guess we'll see when I go to shoot it. Boink. You know, the other thing is because it's being set right in our position, I think I want to say plus dir times, not a full meter, but, and then let's set the impulse to 5. Let's see what, 5 units. 5 meters per second. Boink. Yeah, okay. Now we're talking. Of course, there's no rotation in the... It's kind of funny. Okay. Those will disappear over time. Alright, so we're getting there. Let's make it a impulse of 50. Yeah, so there's like so much debugger. Okay, let's try this. Boink. Alright, now we're talking. So now I know that if I want to, I can you know, shoot something into these guys' fields of view, and they'll and I can see if I detect them or not. Okay, so yeah, so again, it's nothing going on because I can't. I don't have the in the air. What is it trying to activate? It's trying to main click. Okay, so yeah, if I just have main click call through to this same, we're not using block hit, so I can get rid of this. Okay, now I just broke it until I restart. So let's go ahead and fix the other. Yeah, I think tonight we're mostly going to do debug stuff, but I hope to at least get the perception set detecting what's coming in and what's going out. So let's add main click. What is main click? Oh, interesting. Okay. And I think we want main click block, main click object, and main click, because we want to be able to shoot no matter what we're looking at. And main click object hit. Anyway, okay, so we don't need the hits though. We're just firing in a particular direction. Main click object. there's, as far as I know, there is no way to, I don't think I've set up a way to just call main click always. Main click. Like it, depending on the context, if you're, for a general tool anyway, if you're hovering over something, it will call a different script function than if you happen to just be, yeah, she's pushing me around. Okay, so that's that. Let's figure out where the hell all these debug statements are coming from and get rid of them. Player driver. Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Player driver is the physics driver for the player. And I have a ton of debug I added to test. I was trying to figure out why my perceptions weren't coming through. And it's weird though. Why am I not seeing these log messages? Log. Player driver, new okay, new contact. So let's get rid of that for now. Alright. I'm gonna make, I think that gun's firing at a decent rate. But now I should also be able to fire it in the air. All right. Let's go. Okay. This is why we don't like to start the game every time we want to test something. Okay, there's... Alright, so I should be able to fire in the air now. Yes! We got a, exception though. All actions. We try action not found for main press. Oh, yes, okay. But we do have main click. So main press is when I press down, and that fails, but I press up. So now I can shoot things. Or even if I shoot at her. Oh, it's got a default thing though, so it's going to try to talk, and that actually messes up. Yeah. Alright, so we can't actually shoot at objects, but we can shoot in front of them. Okay, so we got our little debug tool. That'll come in handy. Yeah, can we bounce them off the wall? Can I get up there? Yep, boink, boink, boink. Can I get it in the window? Yep. Okay, sorry, I'm playing around. So yeah, you guys will have access to this little test tool, I guess. And I'll fix the gun so that it looks more like where it's supposed to be. Does it bounce off the... Huh. It's weird though because, yeah, something about the fact that they're not really spheres. They're kind of these pseudo-spheres that the blocks are made of. I don't know if there's a way I can fix that. That makes them not roll when they hit the ground. I mean, I could make them real spheres, but then they wouldn't look like little pumpkins. Alright, so we can shoot things. Now let's work on these perception bubbles, and I'm going to add them to, like I've got one on me that we can see that red arrows pointing up, but that's, let's work on the mesh that looks like a frustum. I think that will be handy. It unfortunately will require lots of starting and restarting and restarting to get it right, because meshes are never 100. Yeah, I mean that's probably something that has to do with it too, because I have the default friction set up to make it easier for the mobs to walk around. Um, this is the first thing I've had in the Mythruna engine that you could shoot and see. Everything else was placed. So yeah, there's a ton of tweaking to do on the contact. I tend to set the friction high so that player motion works like it's supposed to, and they don't slide down ramps and things unnecessarily. Okay, or so they can walk up the ramps rather. What was I gonna do? Oh yes, the debug view, which is view Frustum debug shape factory. So we need to make a mesh that looks like what I had in here, right? This, basically 4 lines here and 4 lines here. And then we will see exactly where things are looking, and I will know where it's located, what's actually inside, what's actually outside, etc. And unfortunately, I can use these. I can use this as my template, but I am ultimately going to have to password dragon. Yep. Someday, watch out. There will be dragons in the... Okay, so we don't want any of this anymore. We want to set the mesh. There's no Minecraft code here. Alright, mesh mode lines. And so we want to figure out where the corners of our far box are. Oh, nice. Yeah, we're trying to work on perception of the AI. But no, for the mobs. So they can see one another. Okay, so mesh, set buffer, and like I said, we want to come up with the corners. So what do we want to call them? Upper left, upper right, and lower left and lower right. Lower left, lower right. I'll fill these in a second. Just want to get all this set up. New float. Alright. Yeah, I never know what keywords are gonna get people in. Okay, so we want one line from 0, 0, 0 to so those are the 4 sidelines, upper left, upper right. Actually, what I could have done was this, and then just L, 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 and then we want 4 lines that go from upper left to upper right. And then from upper right to lower right. Can you tell I've handmade a few of these meshes before? Then we want lower right to lower left. And then lower left to upper left. Yep, so this is from the eye position to the upper left of the far plane of the limits of perception. I guess I could take this last comma out. Yeah, so this is, eye to upper left, eye to upper right, eye to lower left, eye to lower right, and then upper left to upper right, upper left, upper right to lower right, lower right to lower left, lower. Yep, okay, we're good. Now we want to steal this code a bit, and change it to protect the innocent. This is a Frustum mesh. Red's fine for now. Set the translation. We're eventually going to have to set the orientation to. Let's go ahead and do that. Alright, geom. Okay, so that, I mean, we won't see anything because we haven't given them all positions yet, so let me just double check. So this should be constant. We don't change the frustum size or anything. Alright, let's set upper left. We really only need one value, and then it gets reflected in the different axes. So that is Vec 3D. Let's call offsets equals frustum dot get up, add frustum dot get left. So that'd be upper left. And so then this is offsets to vector 3f, and then this is ul dot x, ul dot y, ul dot z. So, you know, if upper left is up here, you know, hopefully you understand what I'm doing. Like, so if this is our axis and we're, you know, this is the direction we're looking, upper left is up here, we want to negate that over here to get to the upper right, and then we'll, you know, negate the y to get the lower left, and so on. So then lower left is going to be same x, but negative version of the y and z. And then lower right is both of those, negative, negative, z. Oh, this is not right either. That's going to give us, this needs to be projected out as far as it'll go. So each of these actually needs to be multiplied by the far. And actually that's not right either, because it's the, so we have like, the frustum has some parameters, and internally it calculates, so when you're looking at it from above, this is as much to help use it as to help me. So if you're looking at it from above, this is sort of your view direction, but you've got these, you've got like two right triangles over here, right? And so this has an angle, you know, sort of a tangent, right? That's the y over the x, and so we can, as we move out here, we can tell how wide it is. And so yeah, that's actually the tangent of this angle. As we go out x, yeah, because y over x, so wait, y over x, so if it's 2 over 1, as we go out, yep, we go up to, yep. So that's, you know, in y equals mx plus b, this is m, sideways, right, where this is x, this is y. So I have a tangent in the frustum But I don't know that I expose it because it can be calculated easy enough. And actually what I could do is just get the... I could add methods for getting that far. That way I can just keep all the math in one place. Oh, interesting. That's not going to help me here though, because I rotate the frustum around and I only want to create this once. So I'm going to have to do it the same way that... yeah. Okay, so this is a little more complicated than I had anticipated. So we want... So there's two... crap, this always takes longer than I want, right? So if we're looking at it from the side, there's two angles. There's the one... So this is from the top. We've got this angle that controls how wide in X we are, and then there's another one from the side that's doing similar for the field of view, right? So we've got y f of v frustum, I get vertical f of v, and I'm going to set that in half because it's the full f of v. Horizontal f of v. Okay, so that's the, oops, so that gets us the idealized thing. And so then I should be able to say, so offsets dot z, or offset dot z is the far plane. Frustum get far, and then so offset dot x is going to be yeah, so basically I'm going to ignore everything I did here. That was nice, but I don't need it. So offset dot x equals math dot tangent x FOV times how far out we projected, and then the y is the same thing, but for the vertical FOV. Hope this all makes sense. Yeah, I've lost all of you. I did math. Only a few hanging out for the trigonometry. Okay, so we should, after all that, we should be able to see something now. Let's see if it compiles at all. That's the eternal question. Okay. Oh. I left some things out of my cut and paste. The code looks convincing. Yeah, that's the most important thing. The thing is, you know, with AI, that's all that comes out, right? It's convincing. It might not be right, but it looks right. With the AI generated code. This is what an answer would look like. Doesn't mean it is the answer, but it would look very much like this. So the closer it looks to getting, the closer it gets to looking like an actual answer, the closer to being correct it is. Alrighty. I believe there is a good chance that I might actually get to work on Mythruna this weekend. But now that I've said that, the fates are aligning. And that may be even true for this coming week. It's a sprint planning week. And I think we're going to slip on the stuff we're trying to have done. Okay, what was I going to do? Oh, yes. F5, and then F12. Ooh, badness. Checked exceptions suck. That's my favorite. They do. It's true. Okay, so I did something wrong. Caused by... Oh. Dur, 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 dur. Yeah, I did these, but I'm trying to see... There is no arrow anymore, so I don't have to do any of this stuff anymore. And I think because I'm... So wait, what was I doing? I was taking the world. I'm just making sure I haven't forgotten something. But I don't think I needed to do this. Dir to vector 3F, except for its... I feel like... See, that was rotating it, but then it's also rotating it here. And I feel like that was double rotating it. But I guess we'll see. Oh man, I was so looking forward to this live stream. Thanks guys for hanging out. I'd have done it anyway, but it's nice to know that there are a couple people watching. Beep, beep, beep. Beep, 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 beep. I hope the bus strike ends soon. I hope they get what they're looking for. And buses start running again, because then I get a whole bunch of time back. That's the key. Yeah, so if next week, if the buses start running, they're not meeting again until Monday. If buses start running again, then I free up some time again. It's tricky to get stuff done at work when you only get like an hour, and then you have to go do something, and then another half hour, and you have to go do something, and another hour. And so you end up making up the time later. Alright, so let's go ahead and make it bright outside, and let's see if we crash again this time. Debug stuff. Oop, yep, we certainly did. I left something in that I shouldn't have. I could have let the compiler find it for me. I don't know why I didn't do that. Set local translation. This is access is null. So see if I'm smart, I would get rid of all these things that don't exist anymore, and then the compiler will complain, because I'm better at noticing these things when the when I'm not on a live stream. But yeah, because like I don't see it, but the compiler will definitely tell me now. How's the... Yeah, that's exactly right. So as things enter and exit its view, it can do things. And then... oh, so yeah, I get it. This needs to be just geom. And then the... we actually want to attach this to the parent. Yeah. Okay. So the MC, no, basically, so what's supposed to happen is, like, I can make a physics query that says, hey, give me everything that's inside of this Frustum shape. And the physics engine will say, oh yeah, this object's inside. And then, so that gets me sort of a subset of the world that I then have to check. And then I would have to do line of sight checks to see if the player can really see that or not. And so those would be raycasts, and I plan to sort of perturb them so that within the bounding shape of this, cast a few of them per frame just to see if you see them. And then there's sort of a set, if this is, a set diagram, right? There's a set of objects, and as things you see enter that, like suddenly this moved from behind the door, you see it enters the set, and so then the AI would get an event about that, and when something leaves the set, it would get an event about that. Otherwise, it could just ask for everything that's in the current set of things that it can see and do stuff with that. For example, if a Gafen gets hungry, it can say, hey, is there any food I already know about? That kind of thing. But most things, I think, will react to the event of something entering their field of view or something leaving their field of view. Yeah. So basically, the Frustum narrows down the world to the objects we know are already in their perception view. And then we'll randomly cast rays every frame. Well, not every frame. Like, each perception set has like a refresh time. So, like, dumb things might not notice as often as smart players, smart mobs or something. But within that refresh time, when it detects something, when it knows something's in the view, it will cast a few rays in that direction, randomly perturbed, to see if it sees that. That way, if this object actually has holes in it, maybe we cast a ray through the hole and we see part of the object, then we can perceive that they're there. And so it gives some randomness when you're undercover, of whether you get seen right away or seen at a delay. That's the idea anyway. We'll have to see if it works in practice. Okay, so I think we're getting closer, but again, I've spent the whole live stream basically setting up my debug stuff, but this is important because I spent all last weekend trying to figure out why things were not in view when they were supposed to be in view. And then I finally put some debug visualization in, which turned out to be easier than I thought it was, which is why I was putting it off in the first place. I thought it was going to be really hard, but I already had the hooks to do it, and so I started it, and then I realized that where my perception frustum was not where I thought it was, and that's why things weren't coming in and out when they were supposed to. But these kind of simple AI primitives are what's going to build like cool stuff later. If your NPCs kind of already know the things that are around them. Yeah, it's a trade-off. It's like, if I spend an hour on this, maybe I'll just figure out the problem. And last weekend I was not thinking clearly anyway. I had pulled priorities and so on that, it was a rough week. So rough beginning of the week even. Okay, so let's see if we're going to crash this time. Boink. Nope. But we also don't see our frustum. Well, it's the same amount of rays. If you think about it, why is my frustum debug thing not showing up? So whether the object is shooting rays back, so here's the thing. There's two problems with that. So this object, maybe it's something of odd shapes, right? What do I send back? Where do I send it back from? So yes, I could randomly pick some things and send it back, but I'd have to send them back directly to the player's eye. And there's really no difference in sending them out this way, except for logically, it is the eye that is trying to see those things. So the math is literally identical if you're using rays that are going to matter. The math is identical. The other reason that this is better coming from the eye is that the way the collision stuff is set up, I cast a ray and then I iterate over all of the collisions. And so really, in this case, it's efficient because as soon as I hit the first collision, I stop. I don't have to keep iterating because if I hit something, I know I can't see past it, and I stop. And so if I hit the this little weird door with the window in it, I cast up here, and I hit this, I just stop. I don't have to keep going. I hope that makes sense. Unless I misunderstood your question. It's the same amount of rays either way. And I'm not talking about like firing off 5 in a frame. Maybe 1 or 2 a frame, depending on how the perception set is set up, and I plan to make that like parameterized. Like a Gayfin is going to be an idiot, right? He's only going to notice the most obvious things right in front of him. But a high level NPC, high level, and Mythruna won't have levels, but a experienced, smart NPC is more likely to see you through that gap in the door than a Gayfin is. A Gayfin is just oblivious, right? So I want to build that into the perception set, and there's some, again, the randomness and how often it checks are some of the ways to do that are really easy to implement, and I believe will work. So, okay. Now I need to figure out why things are not working. And this is where I log a bunch of BS. Just to make sure, we'll validate that offset is correct. How about array cone? Well, that's the idea behind casting multiple rays. So a ray cone, I have the similar problem. If you're looking through, yeah, sure. And so if I'm like, say that there's a door here, and it has a window in it, and behind this door, some NPC, some player walks by, right? Where, if from my eye right now, where do I cast rays consistently to see that? So probably we'll cast around in the bounding shape some number of times, but there's no cone I can use. It's the same problem. The cone itself would have to, like, if you're thinking from a cutaway view, you got the top of the door here, and the bottom of the door here, and I've got a cone or a frustum or whatever. It's going to have to be clipped by these things, and that is non-trivial math in the general case. Because what if this was a round hole? That's non-trivial math. Whereas casting a handful of random rays, and some of them go through and some of them don't. It's interesting because it's a way of imitating imperfect perception, right? If this player ran, or if the player ran across here, maybe the NPC didn't see him because it was casting random rays all over, and none of them happened to hit the window, and that is realistic, right? If my NPC was looking in this direction, but he was looking at the little knot of wood down here, and he might not have noticed that player walk by. So it's just to sort of imitate where our eyes are looking in this direction. We already know, right? We already know the player is here. And so I can cast, actually, that's another problem, right? I found out that actually we only know that the player is here. So built-in imperfect perception. This is the theory, right? Now it could turn out that I have to cast so many rays to make it even useful for a quote-unquote high-level NPC to be able to see that it's not worth it, and I have to come up with some mathematical solution. But I believe this will be okay. And again, it models imperfect perception. So I think it'll work. We're going to see. That's so much of what I do is an experiment because we're kind of on the cutting edge in some ways. Kilroy debugging is where you put a word that you know is not in anywhere else in your code. In fact, we'll say Kilroy spasm. We'll know that's not anywhere else, and it's easy to grep the logs for it. Let me make sure that offset makes sense. Oh, well, I already know. Oh, yeah, Z is set. Okay. Yeah. This should work. And then it's Frustum with an F. No, so yeah, I mean for the raise cast, yes, right. Um, this up here, this query, like this is this actually I'm looking probably 48 meters out or something, right? And it's just giving me everything that is even of all of the things in the world, all of the hundreds of things that might be in the world. This NPC is looking in this direction. Only the things that are in this box, like if you imagine this is his computer screen, right? Only the things in this box are things that he could even possibly see. And so then when we detect something in this box, then we cast rays towards it, randomly around to see if we see it. And obviously if we cast a ray and we see it, we don't have to keep doing that as often. We know it's there. And until it leaves our Frustum, we can be pretty sure we still... Because that's the other thing. So imperfections here are helpful. There's this idea... So if we did the mathematically perfect solution, NPC would know, yeah. Yep, raycasting is second best. So there's another built-in aspect to this, right? If we did the mathematically perfect solution, when the player went in this window, NPC would always see it. That's the mathematically perfect situation. We somehow did all this cool math, and we know, okay, NPC's in the window. And then when our player's in the window, and when the player moved out of the window, NPC was, I can't see the player anymore. Whereas with this approach, once we cast a ray and we see that player, even if he moves out of the window, the NPC is still aware that he's over there, right? So we've accidentally implemented persistence of vision. And so until that NPC decides, it's been a while since I cast a ray in that direction, let me try it again. Now, of course, if the NPC turns and that player is no longer in his Frustum, he's forgotten him. So there's not true persistence of vision, but again, I believe this sort of imitates some things accidentally that are desirable, but we'll see. Again, it's an experiment. And well, cool. I think that whole conversation maybe salvaged the live stream because I'm still not seeing my... Okay. Let us also log info Kilroy spasm geom.get world translation. Yeah, let's just see where it is for now. And you know what? While I'm here, I believe the other problem is that I did not update the model bound. Yeah, again, I also look forward to it. I'm often surprised by my experiments because sometimes they really don't work. Oh, holy crap, how'd that get through? Well, that would be why. We're not even setting the... Oh, because... crap. I'm going to get rid of these templates too because they're causing me problems. Okay, so that makes sure I didn't accidentally keep using something I'm not supposed to be using. Anyway, some of my experiments just flat out fail, and then I learn a bunch from it. And some of them wildly succeed better than I ever thought they were, to the point where, when I started it, I was like, let me give it a little try. So like, say that this is the whole thing I think I'm going to have to implement, or whatever. Just pretend this line of, I think I'm going to have to implement this whole thing. But I, start the experiment and I get this far into it, and it already works better than all of my expectations, and so then I can hold the rest of it for later. And the whole far block objects thing is exactly that. I did not expect that to work at all. The way the particles simulate far blocks, I did not expect that to work at all. I expected to have to tweak that endlessly, spend a couple months on it, and really the first iteration was just it blew me away. I was like, that's good enough. Ship it. So All right, I think that it will either work now or we'll have the debugging information to get it to work. And in case you don't know what I'm talking about with the far blocks, I'll show you. And it's like, it's a trick, right? And I almost hesitate to even mention it to people because if you don't know that it's there, it's hard to notice. And then once you know it's there, of course, you definitely notice. And so, like, the best tricks are like that. But I can make it really obvious, and so then you can see. Okay, hold on. But there's all kinds of reasons this shouldn't work. But one of the benefits of having grown up before there was, worked in the industry, but worked in software development at least before there was 3D hardware, is that you learn all kinds of weird tricks in trying to do things smoke and mirrors. I'm trying to see if any of these buildings are far enough away to show you what I want to show you. No, they're not, but we can get far enough away to make it so. Okay, so if we come up here and I plop down on here is the far, is it? I can't really tell. And that's the, yeah, so it's not quite yet. I'm not quite far enough yet. All those buildings were still within my local range. Okay, so this far building has gone to the low level of detail mode. And for the most part, it blends right in, right? This building underneath the glass bubble here. Oh, and this one too, you can see from the jagged rooftops. So we go up, it's a little more obvious, right? Because the flames all go away. But for far away stuff, man, I think this effect astounded me when I saw it first. And I use a bunch of tricks that are just kind of default in my brain at this point for dealing with far particles. But when you want to see how crazy this is, you can actually go into the debug settings and turn it on so that all buildings look that way. And if you've already seen this, I apologize. But so you can say, I don't want to show any near blocks. And so every building shows up this way. And you can almost play the game this way. It's not great, right? But this effect, again, I thought this was something that I had been thinking about for a couple of years. And I thought there was no way that this would work. And so for up close, it's not great. But for those far away buildings, it's quite convincing when they're in the background. That when they get to a certain distance, of course, there's a size of the particles gets weird towards the edges of the screen, and that's a bug in the math that I'll have to fix someday. So it's not perfect by any stretch. There's another issue that two-tone particles two-tone blocks don't show up very well here. And anyway, there are different things that I can do to even make this better. But when I first tried it, like one weekend, one Saturday, I implemented it just to see. And I was like, okay, let me get it started and see how bad it looks so that I see what the next thing I have to tweak is. And I was kind of blown away. I was like, oh, well, actually, that works. Okay, no more development necessary for now. Okay, where's my test area? Okay, there's my NPCs walking around. Okay, so let me go back to testing what we're going to test. Hopefully we'll be able to see the Frustum this time. Ah, look at that! Whee! Okay, so in her case, you can't... actually, so there's a weird thing with the... So it's tough because we're looking at it from her point of view. You can already see it's located in the wrong... It's located in the wrong place because it's supposed to be up at her eye, and it's actually in her center. And because it's from our it's definitely not projected out far enough. but the size is right. So this is where it'd be better if I had them on the mobs. I put it on the player because I have more control over what I'm looking at. So for testing, it was easier, and eventually I'll want them on the player too. There's other aspect. You guys who stuck around for the live stream this long, you get to learn some secrets, right? There's another aspect of this. The player, as they're moving around, they're building a story, right? Whether that gets recorded or not, that's TBD, but that's the plan, right? And so as you move around, I want to be able to contextually know, hey, this player's looking at this whole town. Or when you're up on a cliff and you're coming through or you're up on a mountainside and you come through the woods and the trees clear and all you see is the huge valley and a town way below or whatever. I want the game engine to know that you just came through the trees and now you see something cool, because maybe I cue some music, maybe I put an event in your event log that you saw this cool thing. Perhaps standing still in a view like that is a way to more quickly lower your fatigue or get your health back or something like that. These vibe checks, right? You stand something cool, take stock of life, and you can see like all the terrain laying out before you. These should be if I can do what I want, these will be character important. Just like painting pictures and stuff will be part of the game. I want to have sort of these field of view moments, and so having the player field of view is important to me also, not just the AI. And I don't know if I'll be able to detect all the things I want to detect, but I would really like to know if I'm telling your story and I know you just spent most of the game day traveling through the woods, it's getting dark outside, and you clear the woods, and in the near distance you see the town, and I can record that event, that you traveled through the woods in the night and you see the town, and perhaps someday we generate some story from that information, because that's the whole point of the game, is you're telling a story for yourself. You're living a story, right? All right, that was a lot of rambling, and I still don't know why my thing, but now I have debugging, so let's look at it. And we'll probably want to pipe that into more. So you guys who stuck around past the hour mark, you got that little pie in the sky. What did I call it? Spasm. What was I thinking? Okay, so we want the first one. The first one said, yeah, Z should have been 32 meters away, so maybe it was. Yeah, so it's just a really wide field of view, which is not... That's actually true. For our field of view, that's pretty wide. Okay, so that's fine. Actually, I think that that frustum shape is fine. And now I need to apply it to the NPCs. I think maybe that those spoilers that I dropped for you guys might be a good place to end this. So next on my list is to add, maybe I could really quickly add perception bubbles to... The other thing is, I still have Pepsi. So yeah, we'll keep going until my Pepsi runs out. Okay? Until at least my Pepsi runs out. What's this frowny face for? I don't want to give people frowny faces. Let me steal this code and put it on the agent driver. Didn't mean to make anyone sad. Okay, perception set. No, I thought I was ending too, so that's fair. But I think I'm going to continue for a little bit, because we're so close to being able to see what the NPCs see. And I'm going to give them a smaller, oh, so I didn't keep my rads. Okay, so I'm going to give them a smaller field of view than the player has. So the player has like a 70-degree field of view, vertical field of view, which then is, for my particular screen resolution means it's 1.7 wide. And I'm going to specifically, let's do 40 high. Oops, that's Y. X-rads. Let's make their ratio like 1.5, and let's do 90. That's fine. So I'll have a 90-degree field of view. So it's X-rads, Y-rads. Yep, I already have physics. Cool. Oh, we don't want to skip the player. We want to skip the agent. So basically they won't collide with themselves, because that turns out to generate a lot of stuff. Actually, if you guys don't mind me chewing a piece of gum, I could continue on for a long time, because I just ran out of Pepsi. Alright, so let's get this debugged. Every agent will have one of these now. WC for 32 meters. If you guys hear me start chewing gum and it's annoying, just let me know and I'll spit it out. Okay. I was already set up. Alright. Alright. Let's, maybe that was it. I did work on this last weekend, just not much. Yeah, I remember I was depressed a little bit because I broke my chain, and I mean, for like 2 years I've committed something to the Mythruna repository every week, except for the 1 week that I was committing things to the open source parts, a ton of stuff. But when I was spending 2 weeks working on the Kaylee model, I forgot to commit stuff, because I could have commit the the blend file and stuff, and I forgot to commit it to the repository. So now I have a week where I didn't have any commits over here. I missed a week in my Mythruna, and I had a number. So this one, you can see that week, the 11.5 week. Of course, Firefox chose to unload that page. But the 11.5 week, I was doing a lot of open source work here on the underpinnings of Mythruna, the MOS libraries. So I was okay with not making a Mythruna commit that week, but this one upset me because I did a lot of work and I just don't get credit for it in my chain. So I was a little depressed last weekend. Okay. Let's turn up the brightness. Go out here. F12. Oh, no. Where'd it go? Oh, well, nothing's updating their position. That's why. I forgot to put one piece of code in. Like if we go over to the player driver, I started chewing gum because I was, at one point I was drinking like 8 or 9 sodas a day. And for one thing, when you have high blood pressure, all that caffeine's not great for you. But for another, they start to taste bad after a while. I mean, I can't, anyway. So at the beginning of update, so I started chewing gum after I drink a Pepsi to kind of space it out. And so I went from I could drink 3 Pepsis in an hour sometimes, and now I can stretch. I do a Pepsi and then a piece of gum, and that usually I can work that way for an hour and a half. So the longer story is that I eventually, when I was drinking lots of soda all day, I told myself, as a motivational tactic to work on Mythruna, or to code in general, when I was feeling like goofing off, I said, I'm not allowed to have a Pepsi unless I'm working on code. And so and that worked. I mean, basically, I don't drink a Pepsi, and under rare circumstances, I might, but I don't drink a Pepsi unless I'm coding. And sometimes that's enough to get me started coding. But the problem was, then I felt like whenever I was coding, I needed to drink a soda. And so it actually ultimately increased my soda consumption quite a bit. And so now I do gum, and so I can't hardly drink a Pepsi without having a piece of gum after, because it's just the flavors that I'm expecting. And then I'll chew a piece of gum for up to an hour sometimes, so it works out well. And alright, so that should do that. Means we're updating the perception bubble. Basically, I had added all those perception bubbles, or perception frustums, to the oh crap. I'm gonna use body orientation here, which should be fine for now. Yeah, I don't remember what I was saying. I added the so I added the perception frustum to all the mobs, but then I wasn't updating its position and direction when they were being updated. Wow, we lost the people and gained some back, so not bad. There's a guy, I think his name is Thor Pirate Gaming or Pirate something on Twitch, and he streams a lot and then turns some of those into YouTube shorts that I watch, because sometimes he's playing with his ferret, sometimes he's giving advice, sometimes he's talking about when he used to work at Blizzard. He's an indie gamer that does Twitch streaming. And he did say, your streams should be 4 hours long, but if you want to have you want to be a successful live streamer. Yeah, nicotine, man. I have never done it, but I've had friends who had struggled with nicotine cigarettes. And some of them quit, some of them started vaping and went back to cigarettes, and some of them quit for a long time and then started vaping, which I find an unfortunate substitution. If you've already quit, it's just unfortunate. Anyway, okay. Check it out. They've all got big giant perception bubbles. And so this is how I can look and tweak. Like you can see, that, what's her name? Mayor. What's her name? Mariel. However you pronounce that. You can see what she sees now. Like she's looking in this direction and she's looking in that direction. And now I can see that I need to tweak that. It's like perhaps she can see a little too far, or her field of view is too big. There's realistic field of view, which is closer to what that is. And then there's what's good for a game. And I can see that also that it's not on her eye, which is another thing I'm going to have to fix. But I actually do know where the eyes are on the player, and I do know where the eyes are on the mobs. I do, because I have that attachment point. So I can fix that. In fact, it might be easier to fix for... I don't know. It's the same for both of us. I can get that attachment point, but this lets me tweak it to be a game mechanic-y. I think that field of view is probably too wide for what players would expect. If I have any kind of stealth, sneaky stuff, I don't think they would expect an NPC to be able to see in that kind of wide of a field of view. But I think it's neat. It's working. Let me see if it's working for the other mob types. So we should get one for a Gafin, and obviously a Gafin should have a really stupid small FOV. Yep, it does. So I need to tweak them for the character type, right? Different perception bubbles for different types of characters. That's something I'll have to work at. But the Gafin can see. I mean, it has a perception set. So when I get this perception sets working at all, it will see. Let's try the Oh, the butterfly will too. We'll just not do that for butterfly. Not having one is... Yep, doggy can see too. Let's let the doggy walk around. Yep, okay. So, alright, so we have a whole lot of debug stuff, and I think I'm going to turn the one off for the player because it's distracting. And I'm going to shrink the field of views for everybody else and probably give them a shorter range. Yeah, I chew a lot of gum now. I go through packs, but it's the Orbit's Spearmint. I really like Spearmint. And now I even like carry a pack with me just if I like to, if I'm falling asleep in a theater or something, I can pop it in. Okay, what was I going to do? I was going to make them align to the eye. I'm going to turn off the one for the player, so I'm going to turn that off in the view debug settings. Oops. Until I'm debugging what's in and out of the Frustum, and I want to see. Okay. And so then for agent driver, Orbit bubblegum. Yeah, I have a pack of that too. It's just for a change every now and then. Okay, so let's set this. Let's do a 60-degree wide field of view and a 20-degree tall field of view, and let's limit it to 16 meters. So this is just a kind of in between. I think people-based NPCs will have, you know, slightly larger. Frustum and like Gafen will end up having like 4 or 8. They just don't notice things outside of their field of view, and a dog would have longer. So these are all going to have to be parameterized based on the agent type. And I think I have code in the player driver to, yeah, hand attachment. So how did I find hand attachment? I think this is not the only. Yes, I think there's more than. Okay, hand right. Oh. Let me make sure I don't already have one of these over here. Okay, I don't. But let's do this. We want an attachment point, I think is what it's called. Yep. So right here, we will eye attachment. Okay. And real quickly, I'm going to go over here and remember what I call the eye attachment point. Thanks, Adrian. I'm glad you could join. I'm about to wrap up here soon anyway. I just want to see the perception bubbles in the right place. Okay, so what do I call it? I didn't actually set one for. This is good. Okay, so let me see. I believe. What do we call it? Oh, she's naked. I hope I don't get a YouTube strike. Okay, it's just called eye. Okay. Open the rig. I mean, technically the dog is naked too. Okay, so we're going to make a new attachment point. Make sure they all have one. Call this one eye. And we should be able to... find the head in this mess of stuff. Forehead, left forehead, right. I want like a center head. This is a good animation for that because she looks around. A nose. We're getting close. Spine. Spine 11. It's right there. It's not really what I want. but it will work if I can't find anything better. Steer away from the mech MCH stuff. Org. This is okay. Sometimes I find stuff in here. Somewhere there's a face. That's what I want. Oh, look at her. Oh, she's a cutie. Okay. Then we want to move it around. So that's in the eye line mostly. And see, this is where it's good to have tools, right? Alright, there's where her eyes are. So now she has an eye point. Okay, I'm going to actually put it just slightly behind her brow. Okay, save rig. Cutie. Okay, open the rig and let's look at the Gafen. Does it have an eye? It doesn't yet, so let's give it an eye. And so this can be an easy way for me to I can just not set up a perception if it doesn't have an eye. So there's a head sphere, which is just on the head. So I created this one, and so I've got like I created this model by hand. So the rig is my armature is my own. I gave everything reasonably sane names. Okay, let's get that staying still. Actually, let's set you to your default pose. I think that's funny. The Gafen has a T-pose. All right. I think maybe we'll bump it up just a little. There we go. Yep, that's a good place for the eye. Let's make sure it's still looking around and stuff. Yep. Okay. Save that rig. Okay, so now we have just this attachment point called eye. On the player driver, where do I get it? I think when we initialize the body. Let me make sure that's the only place. Hand right. Unless we haven't set it yet. I think I actually already grabbed that code. Oh, I see. I already had... I had already added perception stuff, but this is creating big spherical ghost objects. So the new code is better. Okay, if it's a rig shape, then we get eye attachment. Oops. Equals eye. Oops. Log info found eye attachment. Okay. And then instead of just always setting it, I am going to here, if eye attachment is not equal to null, then do new stuff, else do this stuff. Okay, so we want to say here, and I have to remember what the parameters on attachment are. Hand attachment. Get translation. Is it world translation? I guess we'll find out. So I do kind of want to get to the point where I stream more often. If we all end up getting comfortable with me just kind of developing and not paying too much attention. So rig shape, attachment point. Why isn't this working? Like a looser format, right? Not so much a specific goal necessarily. Rig shape. Oh, it's just rig here. Consistency, man. It's important. Oh, that's not hand attachment. Like there were a couple times. I think last weekend I probably would have had a better time if I just put the headphones on and started developing and talking to myself, and maybe you guys randomly showed up, because I think I would have stayed and worked longer that way. It was just one of those moods. Okay, come on. Come on. You can do it. Wow, we're almost at the 2-hour mark. You guys who've stayed around for this long, thanks a lot. We like to see stuff working, eh? I think if I get this working, this would be a decent amount for a stream compared to my previous streams. Okay. Has time advanced to daytime again yet? Yep. Okay. So let's come out here. I don't actually have to. We could stay in here now that the player doesn't have one anymore. Oh, look. Did I not add an I to the no. Plus I said it anyway. So why yours is just in a weird place? That's what the problem is there. And I think it's because they're not being updated correctly. In order for the rig attachment points to be in the right place, there has to be like an update or something. Rig shake update every time we do something. So probably, or there's a way, yeah, that's what it is. There's a way to do it right on the attach. So the attachment doesn't necessarily update itself. Although it does here. Let me make sure we actually got I attachments. Found I attachments. So excuse me. So for 2 of them we did not. So do I not have it set up for the human female? That would be really strange. Or did I call it something else? Inquiring minds want to know. Human female 2. Okay. I. She's got an eye. She's naked too. So why? To me, these correspond to the 2 humans that are walking around. I mean, I could try making sure that I've compiled the latest binary. And then let's do the human male just in case. I think that other one was a male. Does he have an eye? He does. Compile binary just in case. Hopefully I didn't just screw something up. -2. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Look at just all the agent driver stuff. Okay. Found eye attachment null. So that didn't even log. For these, it didn't even log the rig shape. Right? Oh, it starts here. Okay, never mind. It's not a human. What is it? It's a rig shape. Oh, it doesn't say. Initialize body. Maybe we can get it from there. Group name rig. It says it's a rig. But it doesn't say where it came from. We ought to be able to see the entity ID. So let's look for that. Nope. Let's just look for the route. So it's because of regex and stuff. But let's just do this. Okay, so that makes no sense at all. So that means it's a Gafen. So it's definitely an agent. Gafen animation. Okay. Except for we had so I must have, yeah, so we've even got a view Frustum. Okay, so I think I need more debug information than I've got here. So if attachment equals null, log info shape do I have the ID agent, get component from the agent, shape info to string ed. Let's see if that works. But I think I'm trying to remember what the API for attachment point looks like. Okay. Or crig source main java.com. Crig attachment point. Oops, that's not the one I want. Okay, I can call update. Okay. Okay. I attachment update. Make sure it's the latest. Okay. Let's see what. Let's see what's what. Yep, that's what I was afraid of. Where is shape info? I think it's also here. Alright, we're gonna get closer to working. That is the question. So this is the fast part. Zoom. Okay. F12. Why, oh why is it not working for you when it's working for everyone else? Oh, wait. I wonder if it is working for them. But that there's maybe a scaling problem. It occurs to no, it shouldn't be. Nope, because we're not attaching it to them. Kilroy spasm. Alright, so let's put the dog down. Yeah, his isn't updating either. That's the other thing is, if they're putting the Frustum in a really weird place, we wouldn't see it. Okay, doggy should walk around. And the eye position is not getting updated. It's better than just a straight 0.8 addition, I think, but it's not moving around with their head and stuff. Why? Why though? Why though? I think maybe... No, it makes no sense. Oh, you know, I mean, it theoretically could be possible that there is no eye attachment, and that's what we're having problems with. So what I should do is double check, because maybe it is the people. Actually, I'm an idiot. The people have proper attachments. The problem is that even though I added eye points to these guys, I didn't recompile the binary. So it has an eye point here, but until I compile the binary, that the game's not going to load it. So that generates the J3O and the rig files that I need to open. You do the same thing for the Gafen. Hello, little Gafen. You wee little birdie. Okay. Compile the binary. That was fast because it hardly has any complicated animations. And now what I suspect is that everyone will have an eye point and we won't see the frustums in any of the proper places because I suspect there's a coordinate system problem. The frustum is supposed to be in world space. So yes, all of the music is made myself. Some of it is recorded, some of it digitally. This particular music that we're listening to right now is 100% digital. You know, I basically orchestrated all the instruments myself, played them on the piano. There are some of my music recordings that do have live music in them because I do play guitar a bit. And what happened to the classic Mythruna song? It's still around. That is still the Mythruna theme. If I know what you're talking about. In fact, the loading music is sort of a orchestra version of the Mythruna music. And the stuff in the menus is just menu music. It's not the actual theme music. There will be a time and a place for the actual theme music. And it will pop up as thematic stuff when I have contextual music. Yeah, so nobody has perception frustums anymore because they're in some weird place. Yeah, Kilroy Spasm says they're at the bottom of the world. Like, can I see them? If Kilroy Spasm is right, they are way the heck down there. What is Kilroy Spasm again? I don't remember what we were logging. But I think we're logging the location. Oh. That's in world space. No, it's not. Okay. So... Okay, I know what's wrong. If you go to... I was going to say I had a SoundCloud. For music, I had a SoundCloud where I have some of my game music up there. And a whole bunch of... I did a Music Weeklies challenge for a year one time where I wrote like 44 songs or something. Some of them will be in the game, some of them not. Some of them were just silly songs I wrote. But I don't know if my SoundCloud links are anywhere that you guys have seen. So anyway, what I want to think I do here... Not there. We want Agent Driver where we were already. If you guys are curious, my SoundCloud, what's it called? Sign in. Did I do it with Google? I haven't been to SoundCloud in a while, you can see. Yeah, so this is me. How do I see my profile? There it is. Paul Speed, Paul-Speed-124748777. And many of these songs, so there's the Mythruna menu theme. That's the one we listen to when we're in the menus. There was a... You see lots of songs here, which none of you probably care about. Some of them are funny, though. That's the ones I put in the backgrounds of my... A lot of these are ones I put in the background of my other videos, things that will appear in the game eventually. Yeah, I thought I had the Mythruna theme music up here, but maybe I don't. That's the menu theme. That's the one we hear all the time. But that's not the one you're talking about, right? Yeah, interesting. It's in my playlists. Oh. Anyway, yeah, you got my silly songs. Anyway, if you're curious, that's where you can go check it out. I don't remember where I posted the link, but if you're on the Discord, I can send it to you too. Anyway, that was a sidetrack. I know exactly what's going wrong here, so let's fix it real quick. It is a world space versus local space problem. So we are setting, I believe that these attachments are in local space. And so we have to do body, position, add, because we were seeing positives or we see negatives, and so that meant that it was being subtracted from. Anyway, I think this is going to fix the problem, but we shall see. Essentially, those frustums were being placed, 8,000 units away from where we actually are. Yeah, so this is the Mythruna menu music. And then when we start into the world, that's a version of the Mythruna theme that was done orchestra style and turned into loading music, so it's all hyped up and never actually gets to the theme. It just does the intro theme. Actually, I could probably bring up the music. It's in my because the loading theme doesn't get far enough, but if it oh, there, everybody's got, okay, all right, that's not exactly in the right place, but it is closer. Perhaps we're having it added back in somewhere. But as the doggy looks around, does it? No, it moves with it, but it doesn't look with it. Okay, yeah. That's actually expected. Like yeah, so you can see that it's moving with the head, but it won't turn. If the Gayfin looks down, it's not going to. It's working backwards. Okay, so yeah, so if you go to this link up in the upper left screen here and put that password in, that's where you can download the January version of the game. There's going to be another version up in March sometime, but there's also the first thing on that page is the Discord link. So I'll go to that page in a second and I'll show you. I'm just trying to figure out. Oh, so yeah, so when he's facing the wrong way, okay, so we've got a orientation problem. Yeah. Okay, I know what happens to happen. Okay. Let me show you the so this is that URL that's in the upper left, the Mythruna 2 engine test build. Mostly I do this because I'm not ready to open up everything to the public, like the public at large, because it takes a long time. It takes a lot of my time to support that. I did that once, when the first Mythruna was out, and it took up a lot of my time just supporting my server and stuff. So, so I put it behind the link with a password just to, the people who are really interested and want to participate in actually trying things out and having a conversation about it. So from this URL, you put the dragon in and you get here. The first link is the Discord invite. And then from there, you can download a Windows version or a Linux version of the last release I did. Hope that's helpful. We sometimes have some cool discussions on Discord about games in general and the future of this game in particular. So that would be nice. And I was trying to remember, I was trying to just figure out which music you meant. Mythruna temp music? There's like the Mythruna main theme. This is Mythruna slow, probably. This is probably what people think of when they think of. That's sort of the ambient Mythruna music. And I have, I think, a newer version of this song somewhere, but yeah, that's it. That is the one. I did like an orchestral version that I never really finished. It's the same theme, but done. I need to redo it because it's all cheesy now. I'm way better at composing than I used to be. Plus, I have way better sounds, instruments now too. I paid it for Miroslav and some other orchestras. So I need to reorchestrate that one. What I'm looking for is local to world. Yep. So anyway, yeah, that's the orchestral version. I'll play the other one again with in the background here while I work. How's that? Yeah, I'll use a slightly maybe less cheesy flute when I redo this one. I also have taught myself how to play this guitar. I did this originally on a keyboard. What am I looking for? Agent driver. I have no idea whether that's like totally swamping my... No, it should... Okay, cool. It's relatively low. Cool. I'm going to stop it in a minute because it's going to loop. Yeah, it's looping. I'm going to stop. Okay. Anyway, that's the old music. That will be definitely in there. Okay, so we want that. We want null. But there's some other songs I use that will appear, especially like desert areas. I have stuff that'll appear. It's under mine. No, I think I can't get them from this. Maybe some Silica music. Yeah, all of these, I mean, not the space ones, but a lot of these will be in the game. But there's like a whole bunch of music that's on the SoundCloud that'll end up in... Yeah. Like I said, yeah. I have like expensive instrument packs now. That was with all free stuff back at 13 years ago or whatever. Yeah, like woke up one day and I had the theme running through my head. I have another theme running through my head almost constantly these days that I need to put in, that I have a specific plan for something in the game, ambient theme for situational music cue for a particular thing that'll come later. Okay, so we should be ready to test that again. Man, some of you are hardcore hanging out. Thanks. There is an extra parenthesis. Yep, that's right. Local to world. Let's try it. And that should at least properly offset. Hopefully it'll be in the right place this time. Every now and then I'll have like a melody pop into my head and have to get it down. I've taken to using my voice recorder app on my phone to hum them. Of course, the concern is that when a theme so clearly pops into my head, that it's because I heard it in like a movie I watched or something, and so I do worry about that. I don't know if there's a reverse music search like there's a reverse image search or not. I should find out. Okay. Will these be in the right place? Who's taking bets? Okay, so everybody's there. Let's turn on the thing. Okay, well, they're not exactly in the right place, but it's close, right? So as the Gaithen bends down, it's in the right place. So they're offset by some amount. And I don't know if that's an eye position problem or a problem with where the debug frustums are being drawn, or yeah. And anyway, these are more than good enough to work for what I need to do. See, but why is it so far forward? And now it's a known thing that I could probably multiply the orientation by the head. So as you see, as the head moves around, it moves, but it doesn't turn with the head. And that's because I probably need to multiply those positions together, the orientations together. But these are probably enough to get me started, and I'll probably spend some time debugging why they're above their heads instead of where their eyes are supposed to be. And I wonder if it's because they're... I think that's their quote-unquote center of gravity, that little yellow. So these are messed up, like the rigs, their center of gravity's in the wrong place. That's why they extend so far underground. But no, I mean, this one's just high. But this one's not just... The dog is not just high, but it's like outside the body. It's almost like there's a scale issue. Anyway, that's not a problem for today. It's actually good enough to do everything I want to do AI-wise, and I can tweak where these exist later. And okay. So if we wanted to, we could real quickly see that the perception code is working by turning on some different debug, and I think that's where I'll stop it. I need to find my Kilroy wherever I put those. Is it perception set? No, it was Frustum debug stuff, because that's going to swamp anything we're trying to look at. Yeah, so okay. Yeah, see, that's fun. If I, yeah, they need to be in world position, so that makes total sense. Oh, that's interesting too. Okay, nope, these are in world position. That's totally fine. Okay, I'm not going to debug that problem because it doesn't have to be debugged to get everything else working. But let's prove that the perception sets are actually working. by putting back this stuff. And you're going to have to bear with me because this is going to produce a lot of output. And I'm going to go to a place in the world where there's not as much stuff so that we can see it work better. And this will be the last thing we do, and I'll show you that it's working. More or less, well, assuming the Frustum intersection code is working. I think this may be the longest stream I've ever done. So thanks for hanging out, guys. Come on, you can do it. Initialize them game modules. Alrighty. So speaking of music, actually one of these I've talked about doing some music composition as a live stream. I have a webcam I'd like to set up on my computer and do it like on the on my keyboard, my music keyboard, and compose some music as on one of the live streams if that's interesting to anyone. I have like I lay things down pretty quickly and then come back, and detail it and stuff. So I figure it could be interesting for people who've never written music, or maybe people who are. I think it's interesting to see different styles of how people write. I have watched that before and could be informative. I am very amateur. I just have a lot of experience playing around with things. I only vaguely know what I'm doing, kind of thing. All right, so apparently we're still... yeah, so even though we're not debugging my view, we still have my view. Well, that'll be fine, right? So what I can do is I can place an object in the world. Let me show you that if I use this little gun thing and shoot a ball. So we see all those down here. We see all these querying. Basically, this is my view frustum. And so if I shoot a ball into here, we should see it show up down there as an object. Yep. Okay. Oh, it's going crazy. I shot it partway through the ground. So yeah, we found it. You see these found. So it eventually settled down. So that's interesting. Why are... Oh, I froze the output. That's why we weren't seeing it anymore. So if we shoot another one. So we've got 3 of these now. Balls! So 3 of these now, and if I turn away, we see that I don't see them anymore. It's just querying, nothing found. If I turn back towards them, now we see them. So that's working. If I place a dog, we're going to see so much output, I'm not even sure it's going to be useful. I think the dog's going to end up facing that way, so let's place him... Nope. Okay. So does doggy see anything? I see doggy. So we get 2 queryings a thing. Now if I move here, I'm not seeing the doggy anymore, but if I move in front of him, you have to take my word for it, I'm moving in front of him, and now he sees me. Right? He, the doggy, sees me, my object. I'm a rig, he's a rig. We're all rigs. And so if I turn around, oops, I let those streaming go again. If I turn around, now we will see each other. Yeah, you see it flying by really fast now. And so if I mark it, we'll see I query found. Why is it 2 founds? Oh, I'm seeing these 2. I'm seeing all those 2. And then he queries, and he just sees me. So yep, it's working. Yeah, sure. Oh, that's the other thing is when the dog sees something move rapidly through its vision, he's supposed to chase it, and that's the missing piece, right? Dog sees a new mob move into his view, he's going to run up and say hi. Gayfin see anything rapidly moving towards them, they get freaked out and they run in the other direction. Doggy also, if he sees anything in his view that's flying across the state, he's going to go chase it. And so not only does the doggy want to go find the Gayfin, they're going to run away from him, and because they're running away from him, he's going to want to chase them. And so that is the combination of behaviors that should lead to some interesting things. And I may have to build in the ability for the dog to give up on stuff, because otherwise he'll just chase the Gayfin all over the town, right? All right, so the perception bubbles are working, and in fact let's put a doggy back. Now he's facing in a different direction. So, I'm still frozen down here. Shoot. Okay, so he's doing that. Let's just double, I could see the balls, but let's make sure he can see the balls. So he sees a ball. Let me look away. Yeah, unfortunately there was so much backlog built up. We're never going to get down there. You'll have to take my word for it that it's working. But nice. So that's the fundamental part of. Actually, that is not even in his view. He won't see it. That's probably bad too. So I do need to increase this vertical field of view again so that they'll see the stuff that's right in front of them. Well, part of it's the eye position's not in the right place, but he should be able to notice stuff that's right in front of him. So maybe that's a separate problem. There's also a perception bubble here, and I think that's probably still valid. There's something about us, we know the things that are near our heads. That's not being debugged right now, so you can't see it, but there is a perception bubble right here around his head. And so that will deal with things he sees in his immediate field of view, and possibly whether it's clipped by something or not, he'll know it's there. And so that would be for things that are immediately in front of him. And then when this frustum is in the right place on his eye and a slightly wider vertical field of view, he will see the objects that plop right in front of him. Okay, so we should be, nothing in the way. So our logs have caught up finally. So if I throw a thing in here, didn't stay in his field of view, so let's throw it here. Up, and now he's disappeared, so now I have to put him back again. Let me delete these objects. Oh, I can't. They're not real. That's why they're not actual typed objects. Okay. This is the unfortunate thing. I have to keep going back and forth here. So place the dog. He's not going to be able to. I'll throw it up there on the thing. Select the little gourd gun and throw the ball up. Throw the ball up on the thing. Okay, so now he should be able to see it. If I look away, we should still see querying. Yep. In fact, I think he can see both of them. So I'm querying, I see nothing. He queries. So I'm querying, I see. He's querying. I query, I see nothing. He's querying. He sees one rigid body, two rigid bodies. So he sees the last two balls I threw. So even though it looks like he can't see this one, he can. It's just barely in his field of view. See, it just clips as it's sitting up there on top of that. It's not supposed to sit up there on top. Oh yeah, because they're light enough. That's why. To make the butterflies land on the grass, I made it so that anything that's of a certain low mass can sit on top of the grass. Yeah, I can fix that, in fact, live without restarting the game, because we made that into the thing here. We can make those a little heavier. So let's make them a pound, half of a kilogram. So now these are some sizable Yeah, so they should be able to go through the grass now. Yep. They won't sit on top. Oh, that did sit on top of the grass. They're bouncing right through the grass. Yeah, there's something still weird going on there. And, of course, Mr. Doggy here is filling my logs with stuff. But I think this might be a good place to stop, right? We've got the perception bubbles implemented. We can see that they definitely see things and don't see things. And so the next thing is to... I made this a part of a class I call... Whoa. Yeah, the game is not happy with me. All those backlogs that I froze. Where is it? Perception set. So this is the thing that's supposed to keep track of the memberships, and it's the thing that keeps track of what interval. You know, like right now we only query 5 times a second. So different things will have different update frequencies, and that's built in. And then once we found a body, we'll keep track of it. If it's a new one, the AI can query that kind of thing. If it's a one that's leaving, it can query that kind of thing because maybe it wants to go to the last place it saw it, that kind of stuff. And then, so this will be the set with some methods for getting that kind of event information for the brain, and then the brain can do things based on that. But I'm about to lose my voice, so I think it's probably a good time to stop. I really appreciate you guys for hanging out. If there's any final questions as I shut it down, let me know. Otherwise, again, I remind you that the link's up in the upper left here, and that'll get you access to the Discord and the latest version of the downloads. You can try the game out for yourself, and there is a public server you can join and make a house and stuff, find a town you like. And I will thank you guys. Let me run through the final little bits and go into the thanks page. Like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, the normal YouTube algorithm feeding things. And thank the patrons one last time, and thanks for joining. I will see you guys next time.